Today we are talking about Chiron in Gemini, or also Chiron in the third house. I am Fox Redsky. I am your astrologer, I'm your soul coach, your cosmic love expert, and we are located in beautiful Costa Rica, and I'm talking to you today about Chiron in Gemini, or Chiron in the third house. So if you have this placement, this is a really tough placement, y'all guys. You know, this isn't anything that's super easy. You know, but let's talk a little bit about what Chiron is. So if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. You know, we're actually doing a series this year on Chiron and the different placements in the houses and the zodiac. So, but let's talk about Chiron in Gemini, or Chiron in the third house. So the third house, which is typically represented by Gemini, has to do with our siblings and our early education, how we were treated in primary school. And a lot of the times, people with this placement, Chiron, remember, Chiron is the wounded healer. It's an asteroid located between Saturn and Uranus, and this represents the wound that we come with in our early development, in our childhood. And having it in Gemini is not easy whatsoever. Like, my hat's off to you. A lot of times people with this placement, whether it's in the third house or in Gemini, were typically had huge amounts of shyness, where they couldn't speak, or they had a stuttering problem, or they had a language barrier, or they were seen as almost like an invalid. Like, they were seen as not having the same educational or having the same stamina, you know, intelligence as their peers, or even as their siblings. There could also be a wound with siblings too, because the third house typically, not only does it represent our first communication and mental, you know, our primary school, but it also represents our neighbors and our siblings. So there may be some sibling that is not, you didn't get to grow up with. So there's like an estranged sibling, or siblings that maybe your different parents had, where you didn't know about them, and you didn't find out about them until later in life, you know. And this is all having to do with the third house and the wounding in this house. And so you almost feel like you're not as smart as a lot of other people, or you might have even had to struggle early on just to prove that you did have the intelligence, or you could speak up for yourself. So this house, or this placement of being in Gemini, you're having to heal the part of you that wasn't acknowledged for having the intellect and the wit and the ability to the communication style, where you could say what you need to defend yourself and to really have your voice heard. And so if you haven't in this lifetime, if you're an adult with this placement, Gemini in Chiron, or Gemini in the third house, if you've not healed your voice, this is a beautiful time to do this. Like, no time is better than the present to be able to acknowledge that you're intelligent, acknowledge all the creativity that comes from you, and to forgive any trespasses of siblings that might have harmed you, or even neighborhood kids that might have picked on you. You might have been left out a lot of times from participating in any early on games. So there's definitely this feeling of isolation with this placement, this feeling of not being heard, or having their voice being taken away from them, and also kind of having the dunce cap on, like you're not smart, like you're not, you know, you're not supposed to get all these things. So acknowledging your intelligence, your beautiful creativity, acknowledging your voice, speaking up for yourself, you know, these are the tools that you need to heal that Chiron. So if you feel like you have that, please, in the comments below, tell me what your experience has been with Gemini in Chiron, or Chiron in the third house. How have you taken steps to heal that part of you, or how have you not? And maybe you neglected that part that still needs to be healed. I want to thank you so much for taking the time and the energy to listen to these very valuable. It's like when we take this darkness and we place it into the light, oh my God, it's amazing. It's amazing what we can accomplish. And when you heal yourself, you're doing it for the collective, you know. So thank you. Thank you. I'm so sorry for the wound that you experienced as a child. I'm so sorry that your voice was not heard. I'm so sorry that people thought you were stupid or couldn't accomplish the things that everyone else could. Your brain just operated at a different speed and a different level, but you were just a little bit of a late bloomer. But I know you're so smart, that you have an amazing capacity to speak and be heard and have your opinions expressed. So thank you so much for healing that inner child. Thank you so much for doing it for all of us wounded children. So wherever you are in the world, I send you all my love. I'm wishing you nothing but the highest and the greatest timeline. So much love to you.